After Capcom proved the success of the survival horror genre by releasing two successful titles in the Resident Evil series, Konami decided to release its own kind of dark horse contender for the genre, and that was the original Silent Hill for the PlayStation. It provided a very different sort of horror experience to the genre. With the Resident Evil series, its scares relying on big surprise boo scares like zombies bursting out of an open door, or something like that. The Silent Hill series relied more on more psychologically unsettling effects, layering on atmosphere after atmosphere and creating just an unsettling environment rather than surprising you outright. The series has continued on with sort of a cult success, eventually coming to the release of Silent Hill 3 for the PlayStation 2. By this point, the expectations for the title are fairly high, and fortunately for the most part, Silent Hill 3 fills those shoes. The drive behind the Silent Hill games has always been really centric to the story in the game. In Silent Hill 3, you play through the eyes of a young woman named Heather. She starts out the game in a horrifying dream sequence in a sort of dilapidated amusement park. When she awakes, she finds herself in an abandoned shopping mall, almost all but deserted except for a detective by the name of Douglas, who approaches her saying that he has information about her past. Heather's in disbelief and wants no part of what Douglas has to offer her. And as she parts ways with him, the mall starts to change drastically. Monsters start appearing, and if you played one of the Silent Hill games before, you're familiar with the fact that eventually environments sort of change into their Dark World counterpart, where the structure of the environment remains the same, but a lot of the environments look burned or badly stained with blood or rust or things like that, and just really giving a really striking. And the gameplay of Silent Hill 3 remains largely intact from the original two entries into the series. You'll explore different environments, finding different items that will help you access different areas of that environment. There's things like keys or different items to help you solve puzzles. In different environments, you'll come across monsters which you'll need to fight. And actually, this is where one of the more key differences, although it is a slight difference, in that the monsters are considerably tougher in Silent Hill 3, and there's actually a lot fewer supplies, such as ammunition or health supplies. So you'll probably find yourself picking your fights a little bit more sparingly, running past the ones that you don't feel that you necessarily need to fight, and really only killing the ones that are in closed rooms that you need to spend some time in. Otherwise, the gameplay remains largely intact. You fight these monsters with a combination of either melee weapons or firearms, a variety of which you'll pick up throughout the game. You'll want to keep a store of health items to keep yourself healthy as the monsters wear you down, and solve puzzles and get from environment to environment. All told, Silent Hill's strongest suit is really its production values. Silent Hill 2, with its grainy film look and really staggering dynamic lighting effects, really raised the expectations of graphical prowess for the PlayStation 2. And really, Konami probably could have released Silent Hill 3 using the same graphics engine and would have done just fine against the current standards of the platform. However, they decided that they really needed to develop a new graphics engine for the game, and it's actually some of the most amazing graphics we've seen for the PlayStation 2. The character models are really exceedingly well detailed, both with a high poly count and really detailed textures. The dynamic lighting creates really crisp, clear shadows as you cast lights throughout the room from the flashlight that Heather holds in her shirt pocket, which lights up the darker environments that she'll be exploring. And the monsters that she encounters look really horrific and animate in a really unworldly and unsettling way. The grain filter, which some people didn't quite like about Silent Hill 2, is back again. It's been toned down a great deal to the fact that you might not notice it, but what's even better is that right at the outset of the game, there's an option to be able to turn it off if you find it's not to your liking. Running hand in hand with the visual production values of the game is also its sound. The sound effects in the game are great. They lend to a really deep and engrossing soundscape. From simple things like Heather's footfalls as she wanders through an abandoned building, to the groan of a far-off monster that may or may not be there when you turn around that corner. As monsters draw close, Heather has this broken radio that emits static as enemies get closer to her, warning you of an enemy that might be, again, right around that corner. And this is something that's actually been in the Silent Hill series since the beginning. The original soundtrack was composed specifically for the game and ranges from tracks that sound like making music and rhythm tracks out of various environmental sounds, such as various industrial groans and whirs of far-off machinery, to these very solemn, kind of lonely-sounding ballads, taken from a a single guitar or a synthesizer, creating a very deep and brooding feel to the game. It seems like what Konami was thinking with the for Silent Hill 3 was really, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. And that's really kind of what they continue to do with the gameplay and how they approach the design of Silent Hill 3. And all in all, it serves as a great bookend of the 3 games in the series so far. The story of Silent Hill 3, without spoiling too much of it, makes a lot of reference back to the events of the original game, and also revisit some of the same themes and also some of the same environments from the second game. While this gameplay can wear a little bit thin at times, really what will keep you going through most of the game will be its story and its characters. While this may not be enough to bring in a whole new audience to check out Silent Hill 3 for the first time, it will certainly satisfy anything that a long-standing fan of the series could hope for, and anybody who is a fan of the survival horror series should want to check out Silent Hill 3.